welcome to the Lens channel. So as you guys have seen, there's a lot of buzz around the new upcoming Samsung Galaxy Fold. We can see review videos all around, including unbox therapy and other guys, and some appreciating that new form factor, and some finding issues with this the new folding screen technology. And even recently EEVblog have released a new video about the capacitive touch screens, something like a thin film capacitive touch screens, which has that folding capability and stuff like that. So often I seen many reviewing about Samsung Galaxy Fold is it's a new form factor. It is a complete different user experience and stuff like that. But if you ask me, even before something like this it came, I am an user of NOKIA E90 Communicator. I still have it. Of course, these days I'm not using it. So this is something I purchased around a decade ago, more over a decade ago. So I used it for a few years, and then I switched to a Android phone, and then I was using it in and out. So I used to use this especially when I was going any abroad trips. The reason is it can have great amount of battery backup, which is not something possible with Samsung phones, Android phones at that point of time. And as you know, Android phones also tend to be little unreliable. I'm not saying now, I'm saying a time around 2012 2011 and stuff like that. So you may have some type of a crash in the OS or something. So you will find always it is a full featured operating system driven phones, and it is also quite new ecosystem, so it may have some type of unreliability. So that is why I used to carry this, so that it is more like a dumb phone for me, although it is a smartphone. So this phone I purchased just 6 months before the first iPhone have released. So its price is just about the price of iPhone. Okay, so the thing why it failed is due to the lack of app support. You won't find much apps for this phone, although Nokia attempted doing something, and they even had an app store and stuff. So it comes with this huge battery. As you can see, the paint have been peeled off, and then whatever it is left over I have just sanded out. I just want to expose its bare metal. You can see it looks like a sort of magnesium alloy ish sort of a thing, and it has a hinge, you can see here. So this is if you see this form factor, it is nothing but a sort of flip phone, but it has this type of form factor. So in this mode, the reason I took this phone is I need to do some type of work on Symbian. So I need some type of stuff which can be used. I cannot buy a very basic phone, a Symbian phone. I need a bit more powerful Symbian phone so that I can do some experiment, something like that. So it's a different reason I took that. At the same time, I also was quite impressed, because if you buy BlackBerry, you need to hold like this, and you will have some type of a QWERTY interface, whereas here it has enough space where you can type it, any text quite comfortably. You can really type comfortably with this phone and this form factor. The only drawback is if you want to navigate any web, you need to use this stuff. It is not any joystick-ish stuff. You need to use this buttons. You need to use this up for moving the mouse up and down, right, left, and stuff like that. And sometimes you can use in combination with these buttons over here and over here as well. So these will mimic that front red and green buttons and stuff like that. So all sorts of things is possible. You can also turn on a backlit, and it almost sometimes looks like a laptop as well. So this is the reason I purchased. And if you flip it this way, you can see here the same thing, whatever you find it here is miniaturized. You have a small screen and then you have the same navigation button, and then you have that regular button. So since this is not a QWERTY keyboard, here if you type any message, you need to choose the characters here and there. So when you fold, this becomes like any other regular Nokia phone, and when you open, this becomes like a different form factor where it allows you to have a large screen at the same time, full featured QWERTY keyboard where you can comfortably type with both your fingers. Okay, so this is what. So this is why I felt the Samsung Galaxy Fold is not anything that new, because if you see, other than that screen which can fold, other than that, it kind of mimics this ecosystem. I mean, it kind of mimics this form factor. Okay, if you fold, you get the miniature phone, and then if you open, you get that full stretched out screen where it has a lot more screen area. So at this point of time, since we don't have smartphones with large screens, and also we still had phones with buttons. Okay, once the arrival of iPhone in the market, then we started changing that structure, and we no longer have any buttons in our smartphone. So that's what. Okay, so if you think about the hinge again, this is having a very reliable hinge. Trust me, I used it for more than a decade. Okay, it is used initially for 3 or 4 years, more or less, because I don't have any complaints, and it is just quite reliable. It is quite reliable. The initial OS, whatever it came, it used to hang every 2 days or 3 days once, but they have released a update, and after that it was quite rock solid. And few apps I have installed here and there. They also provided some apps in the CD, and so it was nice and good at that point of time. Even I used to record some YouTube videos with this camera. I used to mount with some double-sided tape. It's quite heavy, trust me, it is quite heavy. Okay, you can mount it, and there is a camera button, and since that button have peeled and gone off, I just potted with some hot glue. Okay, there are some quick navigation buttons over here. This you can use it for camera, and this you can use it for some volume or something like that. I just don't remember. So I just put hot glue and then closed these buttons because they got peeled out. And as I said, I used almost for a decade. Okay, initially I used straight for 3 to 4 years or something. After that, as I switched to Android phones, I used to use this only for backup or emergency. Sometimes I used to just carry this phone. You can see here, this is a genuine Nokia replacement battery. The battery which it came worked for around 3 or 4 years. After that, it gone bad. After that, I purchased this from a Nokia store, and this Nokia store is the Nokia store where you can find it in Bangalore, Indranagar. After some time, since Nokia is not doing well, they tried this Windows phones and all that, and it is not doing well, and finally the store is converted to a Samsung exclusive Samsung Galaxy store. Okay, so this is what I just took this battery over there. I used this for some time, and even this new one which I took around 4 or 5 years back is gone bad. It is little bit puffed up. I am not sure whether you can able to make out. It is little bit puffed up, and it comes with this regular SIM port. Okay, so this is what. So it's quite interesting, but as they appreciate about Galaxy Fold, I don't see anything revolutionary other than the foldability of that screen, which of course it can be appreciated. But when you think about the form factor, it is just concept of flip phones. So hope you are aware that still some parts of Asia, let it be China and especially Korea, people are quite people have quite amount of fan following of flip phones. Okay, so this is also the thing, and maybe they may be experimenting with a smartphone which doesn't have any buttons and should have that flip phone type of capability. So they must have done some research about it, and we know that Samsung worked for around 8 years to come something like this Galaxy Fold, and they have to solve a lot of technological challenges, okay, so things like that. So of course they may be wondering that how we can do a flip phone, but it is not like this type of flip phone like that old Moto Razr, and come up with some type of form factor. So if you see that way, this has a hinge over here, so this hinge works more like a laptop hinge. You can keep the screen in any angle, this way and this way like this, and once you close, it has this satisfying sound. So this is something several reviewers of Galaxy Fold have told that it is very satisfying. I never used it and stuff like that, but trust me, this is there for more than a decade, and this is what all flip phones are all about. And if you think about this Communicator series from Nokia, I believe this is the last Communicator series from Nokia. Earlier they had even more bigger phone which used to look like some kind of pencil case. Okay, so this is the last Communicator of the Nokia phone. After this they did all that BlackBerry phone type of smartphones, even the same software they used to put in that type of smartphones, which used to look like BlackBerry phone. After that we know that it was being acquired by Microsoft, and they have completely shifted towards the other things. Okay, so this is what. So if you think about the form factor or the experience, the way it changes once you expand the screen is nothing new, and at the same time if you fold, it becomes this regular miniature phone, which is also nothing new. Here in this case, at that point of time, we have QWERTY phones or the regular keypad phones. So that is what they have done this, because here they cannot put that full QWERTY, so they have done that regular keypad. And if you want to type any messages, you need to type the same key for multiple times, so that you get that corresponding characters. Okay, whereas if you open, you get exclusive QWERTY keyboard, and you have this numbers over here, and it has a regular QWERTY. You have this type of tab, shift, and all sorts of stuff which you can find any regular keyboard or a laptop. You have this backspace, you have this enter key and stuff. So this is what. So, I'm not finding anything very new or unique, and trust me, if you think about the reliability of this flip mechanism, this is also something people have discussed. This is also even Liu in Unbox Therapy, or Liu later channel, he discussed, and he even did a video that he can open and close for 1,000 times. Of course it tests that flexible screen, but on the other side, the flip mechanism is quite quite mature. It is there for more than a decade. I mean, it is we had flip phones, and even we have something like this from Nokia. So this is what. So I can just flip it this way, and the usability aspect, if I compare, I highly regretted that I took this phone. This phone I spent around $600 or something like that since I purchased in India. If you buy this phone in US, Canada or something, maybe you may buy it for $450 to $400. I think so, because here in India electronics are quite expensive. You need to pay around 30% of government tax. Okay, so this is what. So this phone I highly regretted after I purchased. It is very reliable, which is a plus, but at the same time it really cannot be called as a smartphone, because it doesn't have any proper app support. And this is also the main reason Nokia is not able to sustain in the market in terms of dominating the smartphone market, because they are not getting the point of how you can make a proper operating system which can support that app ecosystem. So even for the same phone, if you install any apps which is supported for Nokia, the moment you expand the screen, they used to look like this. So there is absolute no use of using some app which can utilize this large screen area. Trust me, it's a very high resolution screen. It is not touch capable, so you need to use this navigation buttons. But many apps which they themselves provided is not going to utilize this large screen either. So it's just it's just something that you may not use it other than typing something, or else occasionally browsing. And when you think about the Wi-Fi connectivity, again, it used to suck. It used to have a very pathetic navigation in terms of getting anything you want. Okay, so these are certain drawbacks, and one can really make out with this phone. Trust me, after using this phone, I can really make out why Nokia have struggled in the smartphone area, and then why chain of events started, and getting it with Microsoft is also not a good option, because Microsoft has a different strategy. They want to bring that Windows into the smartphone mobile first strategy. Whatever they tried at that point of time, again, it is not well cooked, well baked, and they don't have that proper ecosystem as well, which can compete not iPhones, at least Androids in all aspects. So this is where it had a lot of shortcoming. And when it comes to the usability and practicality, as I said, other than a long battery life, and other than it's quite reliable. I'm not saying all apps, I'm just saying whatever it comes, factory loaded apps and stuff, it is very reliable, and it had a decent camera. I mean, this is just 3.2 megapixel, which is good enough at that point of time, and it's a very good LED flash it used to have. It's quite nice. I mean, at that point of time, whatever the photos I used to take, or even videos for YouTube, it is quite good. When you take in regular daylight, it comes really good. Other than that, it cannot perform in low light. We can just ignore about low light performance, and even it has some type of vibration reduction and whatever. So it is quite good, but other than that, if you think about the form factor, it is really quite cumbersome. You cannot easily keep in your pocket, and it is very heavy. I mean, of course, what I hear from Galaxy Fold is it is not that heavy, because since it's a modern iteration of something like this is an antique versus that is a modern iteration of something like this. It is not that heavy. I mean, is what is the impression I get. But what is the thing is, over a long run, it is going to little bit annoy you for sure. People may get excited. They get excited whenever they get anything new, and they talk about it's usability, whatever they get, because it is new. But after some time, like I used this phone for a decade, I'm saying the thing is, you use it for some time. After that, you feel that when you fold, it is not something adequate. When you open, it is quite large, but you can't use this when you are suddenly on a hurry or something like that. It is just not that practical. And when you put a kind of folding screen on top of it, it is not going to be reliable as well. After you do some time, there is going to be some amount of stretching factor going to be there in the screen, and it is no wonder that Samsung is taking some time. They are doing some type of workaround how it can be solved and stuff. So although Samsung Galaxy team have tested that phone with all sorts of rigs and let them do some million iterations, whatever. So it is nowhere comparable with a real user experience. So he may use it in a hot weather, he may use it constantly in a cold weather, and all sorts of things. We know that plastic becomes quite expandable when there is amount of heat is involved, but when it is a cold environment the user is using, plastic tends to become brittle. Okay, so you can consider all sorts of factors. The user may use it with wet fingers, moist fingers, or else whatever it is. Okay, so this is what they must have done. They must have given to their employees. Even this is something Lou have mentioned as well. So, or else even Dave from EEVblog, even he mentioned. So they must have given to their employees once there is some amount of production iteration is over. So they must have given and tested extensively, because here we can at least expect some type of reliability, because the screen is mounted this way. Even I have some kind of screen protector which is put across here. Okay, so there is some amount of reliability we can expect. Even when it is folded, there is some amount of reliability can be expected. I got all sorts of scenarios. I used it in some rain here, there, any kind of practical usage scenario. But the thing is, this is not having any sort of foldable screen or something like that. So one can expect, other than this hinge mechanism, it is very reliable. Okay, there is nothing to worry about. Either you use it in this way, you have the keyboard and keypad, whatever, and then you have the screen, and either you close this way, you have the screen and keypad actually. So there is nothing can go wrong. Okay, unlike Samsung Galaxy Fold. So this is a kind of new form factor. So only the time will tell how this is going to turn out. Let them put the foldable screen inside like Samsung have done, or else like Huawei, they have put that foldable screen outside. Let it be any scenario. If you put it outside, you need to deal with other type of challenges. If you put it inside, then you need to deal other type of challenges. And sometimes accidentally you may put something and then close it. Once my wife have forgotten her headphones, and she attempted to close the lid of that laptop. So in case if she put additional pressure, it must have damaged the screen. So it is quite going to be fragile. It is not like your regular well tested, mature smartphone. And if you think about the Huawei's approach, they are putting the screen outside. If you notice the case of DVD discs, the plastic case, it will have that plastic case, and outside of that plastic case it will have some kind of a label which will be attached. This is unlike the old CD jewel case. It was going to have some type of a card insert and stuff, versus the DVDs and Blu-ray discs, it will have some type of movie poster. I mean that whatever music album or whatever, the poster, it will have something like this, and it will have another laminate cover on top of it. So something like that. So either of that case, some people may still like this form factor, and I believe this is going to be there. People may buy it, adopt it for some amount of time, and then they are going to lose interest of this type of a form factor. Trust me, after using this, I feel that it is not that practical to use everywhere around. Sometimes I even seen guys commenting about, you can just keep it this way and then you can watch videos or whatever. So I mean, I'm still saying I don't think so this is a good form factor. There is an advantage of that old school flip phones, because at that point of time it is quite convenient, and it is also protecting the screen and stuff like that. But when you think about the modern smartphones, you have other means to protect them, and you don't need to worry about. And anyway, putting any type of foldable screen is going to make it fragile, and I don't have any confidence in this form factor, or else this type of concept either. But it is good. It may suit for some users who want to have something like a tablet like form factor, like something like iPad, which they can put and inside their pockets and carry everywhere around. So they may appreciate this for time being, because it is new. But once if they use it for 6 months to 1 year or 2 years, then they will realize that in their entire life they don't want to venture into something like this. Okay, so I'm not discouraging Samsung, because I feel that it is just a reiteration of what Nokia have done a decade ago. Okay, so let them do it, and we have several advantages versus what I have here. Other than app support, it comes with just a single battery, versus in Samsung Galaxy Fold they are putting 2 batteries and extending that range as well, the battery backup range as well. So there are going to be several advantages, and it has more cameras. Either you can take selfies this way, you can open and take selfies, and then you can even close, and or else from the back side you can take good photos. So it is a step in the right direction, but as long as this is going to create any huge market segment, I don't have any trust in that, because this have come and it have quite failed miserably. At that point of time, this phone is quite expensive. I seen often politicians or else in movies, gangsters will be using this, and if they want to kill someone, if they hire some hitman, you can find often in Hollywood as well as Bollywood movies, they use this phone, and then a don or a gangster or mafia, they will be using this phone, and they will be telling their guys to kill their opponents and stuff like that. So other than that, I never seen anyone using something like this, which is highly not so practical. You cannot keep it here, you cannot use it within your fanny pack, you feel little heavy, you cannot even put it in your pocket, you really feel heavy, and it is nowhere comparable with our well matured modern smartphones what we have.